My mother-in-law lost too much blood and fell into a coma, and only my husband's Rh-negative blood could save her. Holding on to my last hope, I dialed my husband's number. The phone rang for a long time before someone answered, but the voice on the other end was a familiar woman's. I'm warning you not to call again. Tyler brother is busy making longevity noodles for me with his own hands. I wanted to speak again, but my husband's impatient voice came through. Quickly hanging up and turning off his phone, at the same time, the operating room door opened. The patient's heart stopped, and resuscitation efforts were unsuccessful. I collapsed to the ground. My mother-in-law was dead, however, after I handled the funeral arrangements and returned home to meet with the lawyer. I was stunned when I saw the will. My husband had gone mad. The entire supply of rare blood from the blood bank has been used up, and it's still not enough. Quickly notify the patient's family to come and donate blood. What are you standing around for? Go now. Vice President Graham also has this blood type. Hurry and find him. Before the nurse could go far, the door of the emergency room opened, and the doctor wearily shook his head. The person has passed. Please accept our condolences. Go see the elderly one last time. Trembling, I walked up to my grandmother, taking in her graying hair and ashen lips. Even though she had received multiple blood transfusions, why did she still look so pallid? I tightly grasped her gradually cooling hands as tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. Just moments ago, she was holding my hand, walking with me in the yard, cheerfully saying that if I was truly unhappy, I should divorce Tyler. She wanted to adopt me as her goddaughter. Before I could even nod, the next second she suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. My skirt was stained red. And before my mother-in-law fainted, she said to me, I have a rare blood type, and my son can save me. Tears streaming down my face, I nodded and loudly reassured my mother-in-law, Tyler Graham will definitely come back. Mom, you'll be all right. Then I dialed 120 to call for an ambulance, but only I knew Tyler would never answer my call. I called, messaged, and texted him repeatedly, but couldn't reach him at all. I knew Tyler had gone to see my sister, the woman he loved most. Suppressing the nausea in my stomach, I ran to the security booth to borrow the guard's phone to make a call. Hello, who are you looking for? I ignored the polite female voice coming from my phone. All I wanted was for Tyler to come to the hospital. My mother-in-law would surely be fine. Hand the phone to Tyler. His mother is losing too much blood and is in critical care at the hospital. Only his blood can save her. To my surprise, the woman burst into laughter and even said I was shameless for chasing after a man. You'll say anything now just to keep Tyler by your side. Last time it was a fake pregnancy. This time it's his mom dying. What, you think he'll fall for it again? I suggest you save your breath. Don't think just because Auntie likes you, you can steal him from me. Cursing the old lady to death. Only you could come up with that. Her words pierced my heart like knives. To save my mother-in-law. I swallowed my pride and begged her for the first time. Grace Delaney, as long as you get Tyler to donate blood at the hospital, I'll give you anything. Don't you love Tyler most? I promise, as soon as Mom wakes up, I'll divorce him immediately and stay far away from you both. Grace, I'm begging you. I pleaded with my sister over and over, but she just laughed. Ruby, it's too late to beg me now. I'll make your death quick and painless. I heard the woman walk into the kitchen with her phone, followed by the rhythmic thud of chopping vegetables. Grace, who are you chatting with? The man asked gently. Tyler brother. Ruby said the hospital is running low on rare blood types and needs you to come back. I was about to speak about my mother-in-law's condition when my husband, abandoning his previous gentleness, shouted at me. You don't even stay home to take care of my mom properly, always scheming with those ridiculous tricks to seduce me. Ruby Delaney, you're shameless. My heart felt as if it had been slashed by a knife. I opened my mouth, but all my words were trapped at my lips. My sister stepped in to mediate at this point, calming her husband's emotions and even inviting me over for dinner. Ruby, Tyler's busy making longevity noodles for me by hand. Don't call and disturb him. I knew my husband wouldn't be coming over. Once the hospital blood bank runs out, my mother-in-law certainly won't survive. I sat crying on the bench outside the emergency room, watching everyone bustling about, yet unable to do anything. I told the doctor that the patient was Graham, the vice dean's mother. He also has a rare blood type. I tirelessly took turns with everyone to call Tyler, but all we got was a busy signal, until I heard the doctor say those words. Please accept our condolences. The patient couldn't be saved. I slid off the chair and numbly followed the nurse to see my mother-in-law one last time. Her eyes were wide open, as if asking me why Tyler did he come to save her. A wave of pain surged through my body. Whether from my mother-in-law's passing or something else, I couldn't tell. It wasn't until the nurse came over to console me that she noticed I was dripping with blood. Miss Delaney, you. I shook my head with a faint smile, then collapsed unconscious. When I woke up again, my eyes met a clean, white ceiling, and an IV drip was still attached to my hand. You just had an abortion procedure. How could you get out of bed already? The nurse, upon entering, immediately urged me back into bed. I forced a smile and asked her how my mother-in-law was doing. After checking my condition, the nurse said, "You fainted yesterday from severe uterine bleeding. The elderly woman's body is still in the morgue. The body must be sent for cremation by today at the latest, but Vice President Graham's phone still can't be reached." Her voice grew softer, yet I heard every word clearly. My mother-in-law, my husband's own mother, has been dead for a day with no one to claim her body. And here I am, hospitalized after a miscarriage, while my husband Tyler is by another woman's side. I woke up to a multimedia message. A photo of my husband carefully bandaging my sister's finger after it was injured by a stone. The message read, "He said his Rh-negative blood is very rare, yet is willing to give it all to me." I knew Grace was showing off to me, also warning me not to waste any more effort trying to cling on. I stared fixedly at those words, feeling a pang of sorrow for my mother-in-law. This was the good son she had raised with such hardship. I'd rather give my blood to a useless person than donate it to save my own mother. I turned back and told the nurse that I would send my mother-in-law for cremation soon. After I got my mother-in-law's ashes, my husband finally decided to come home. Unexpectedly, my husband took the initiative to call me. "Ruby, where's my mom? Did you make her angry again?" I cursed under my breath, calling them crazy, and carefully carried a metal can home. I saw my husband and my sister sitting on the couch, looking at me with disgust. "What the hell is that junk in your hands? Throw it away now." Grace leaned against my husband as if boneless, looking at me with disdain as she spoke. My husband seized the opportunity to snatch it away, and the metal canister fell to the ground, scattering the ashes everywhere. With reddened eyes, I glared fiercely at the two of them, causing my husband to shiver involuntarily. He said righteously, "It's just a damn dog. Dead is dead. Why bring its ashes home? How unlucky." Grace wrapped her fair, delicate hands around my husband's arm and cooed, "Tyler brother, don't be angry. Ruby is still young and doesn't understand." I remained silent, taking out the death certificate from my handbag and handing it to Tyler. "Your mother is dead. These are her ashes." Tyler tightened his grip on the report. Grace also changed her expression, and I went straight upstairs to pack my luggage. "Stop right there. What do you mean by this? To curry favor with me? You'd even fabricate a report to curse my mother's death? You've got some nerve. Don't think just because my mother protects you, I won't dare to do anything to you." Seeing Tyler growing angrier, Grace burst into tears. "It's all my fault. I was the one who insisted Tyler stay with me. That's why Ruby got so angry." "Ruby, no matter how angry you are, you shouldn't say something happened to Auntie." Too disgusted to look at the revolting couple, I sneered, "Tyler, so you love her this much? Her enough to disregard whether your own mother lives or dies? Now that your mother's dead, you two can be happily together. Let's get divorced." With that, I turned and walked away without looking back. Grace felt uneasy but maintained a calm expression. "Auntie has always been in good health. It must be Ruby playing tricks." Tyler thought so too, as the deputy director of the hospital, and knowing both he and his mother had rare blood types, he had previously arranged for a certain amount of blood to be transferred from another branch and stored for emergencies. Then, he felt reassured, convinced that I had conspired with his mother to set this up. Just like that, he held Gracie and went upstairs. Sleeping in our marital bed, little did they know, Tyler had been embracing his beauty all these days, while everyone else was going crazy with worry. Unable to reach him, I left home, wiping the tears from the corners of my eyes. Taking out my phone, I called Tyler's relatives, friends, and colleagues at the hospital one by one, telling them that Tyler had returned. I asked them all to come to the house together. Soon, everyone arrived, and I led them inside. The ashes were still scattered everywhere. Untouched, some frowned, while others looked puzzled. I nodded bitterly and gestured for everyone to follow me upstairs. Before even pushing the door open, the sounds coming from the master bedroom left me stunned. Watching the expressions of those behind me change in unison was truly a spectacle. While everyone was worried about his safety, he was indulging in pleasures of the flesh. Seems he's really fine. All our worry for nothing, someone remarked. Then someone else said, his mother's first-week memorial hasn't even passed, and he still has the energy to mess around with this nonsense. Is he even human? At these words, everyone finally realized. The teacher's wife had died. The door was kicked open, and over a dozen people rushed into the bedroom. The two on the bed were scared out of their wits. Tyler was the first to snap out of it. Spotting me by the door, he yelled angrily, "Are you insane? Calling people to gawk at me?" I suddenly burst into laughter. Drawing everyone's attention, my uterus was removed. I can never have children in this lifetime. What? Grace had been hiding under the covers but lifted her head upon hearing this. That day, I hemorrhaged heavily and had my uterus removed. Your mother died, and my only child died too. As these words were spoken, the previously noisy crowd instantly fell silent. How could you be pregnant? Wait, no, what do you mean my mother is dead? Tyler was genuinely panicked now. Disregarding his naked body as he grabbed the eldest uncle, asking if the situation was true, the other nodded. I smiled bitterly. I also want to know why I'm pregnant. Because it was you, Tyler, who mistook me for Grace when you were drunk. I thought you were just unkind to me. But I didn't realize your mother-in-law meant so little to you in your heart. The onlookers exchanged bewildered glances. Tyler blushed to the neck, and I was slapped by him. Ruby, I've already given you the position of the rightful wife. Don't push your luck. And you all, so eager to watch the drama. Does the hospital have no patience? Tyler lashed out at everyone, their emotions shifting from concern to amusement and finally to anger. Grace, seeing the situation take a dramatic turn, reverted to her pitiable, delicate woman persona. She cooed sweetly, "Blame it all on me. It was I who seduced Tyler, brother. I who acted shamelessly. I've committed the mistake that all women in the world make. Everyone saw what happened today. I can't face anyone anymore. I might as well die." Grace finished speaking and was about to ram her head into the doorframe to kill herself. Just now, Tyler had driven everyone away, leaving only me, Tyler, and my sister in the bedroom. Grace, if you have the guts, die right here so you can keep Grandma company in the afterlife. But do you dare? The husband didn't notice Grace's fleeting look of resentment. Holding the woman in his arms tightly, "Ruby, you're a venomous woman. You'll get what's coming to you, mother-in-law. Do you see? Tyler would rather believe I'm trying to trap him than accept that you're dead. Tyler, I'm telling you one more time, mother-in-law is dead. She died on the very night you made her longevity noodles. You asked why no one informed you. It's because no one could get through to your phone." With every word I spoke, Tyler's expression grew darker, until I uttered, "Our renowned Vice Dean Graham, who saved countless lives, chose not to save his own mother. Isn't it quite hilarious?" I took out my phone and opened Grace-sent pictures and text messages. "Tyler, you keep saying you love your mom, but this disgusting blood type is truly nauseating." He held his head and sobbed quietly, as if he had lost all his strength. He looked towards Grace, as if asking her, "Ruba must be lying. Yes, she's deceiving me." I shattered his last glimmer of hope. Just as I had begged Gracheto call Tyler back to save Grandma. "You can ask Grace. I said Grandma was in trouble and only you could help. But Grace said it was you, Tyler, who personally refused." Tyler stared at Grace with bloodshot eyes, but she avoided his gaze. "Tyler, you killed Mom. Tyler, you killed Mom." I heard the two arguing in the room, the sound of objects being thrown crashing loudly. "Tyler, Grace, this is just the beginning. What you owe to Mom and what you owe to me, I will reclaim every bit of it." Sitting in the taxi, I reminisced about the 3 years I spent with Tyler. Back then, Tyler's mother was robbed on the street, and I bravely stepped in to help catch the thief. Auntie insisted on repaying me, at Mom's house, the first time I met Tyler. I fell for him because he was the senior I had a crush on for years. My mother-in-law saw through my girlish affections and forced her son to marry me. Tyler was extremely reluctant but still married me, only to lock eyes with Grace at our engagement banquet, on my wedding night. My husband was passionately entangled with Gracie in a hotel. Grace arrogantly called me, "Ruby, you've never been able to outdo me since childhood, not even with the man you love most," furious. I clutched my aching heart as my mother-in-law's words echoed in my ears. "Ruby, Tyler has never liked any girl since childhood. Treat him well, and he will surely see your goodness." For 3 years, I've been a devoted wife and daughter-in-law at home and a high-achieving career woman outside, yet his disdain for me only grew. Though my mother-in-law noticed our marital discord, she still treated me like her own daughter and even advised me to divorce if I remained unhappy. I smiled bitterly. Tyler must be madly in love with Grace. Yet, Grace did not truly love him. "Tyler, if you don't love me, I accept it. That you fell for Grace, who's always loved taking what's mine since childhood, is something I can't stop either. But, you and Grace indirectly caused Mom's death. Mom was such a kind person. She'd even taken a stray dog and care for it lovingly. And me, what have I done wrong that I can never have the chance to be a mother in this lifetime?" Scenes from the past flash before my eyes like a movie. My mother-in-law treated me like her own daughter, waking up early every day to prepare meals for me, always waiting at home for my return after work. I often couldn't see Tyler, and my mother-in-law would even help me find ways to bring him home. I never got the chance to tell my mother-in-law that she was about to become a grandmother. The scene shifts to Grace sending a provocative text message, along with photos of her and my husband. In the end, all that remained was my mother-in-law's dying words, "My son can save me," and the busy tone of my husband's phone call. The car soon arrived at the law firm, and I looked up at the bright sunny sky. "Ruby, it's been 3 years. You need to wake up. This is the man you've been holding onto for a full decade. All because of one promise: I'll protect you. Even the greatest debt of gratitude is repaid when you're left shattered by him. Your body no longer whole. Miss Delaney, Mrs. Graham left a will before her passing. Would you like to?" The lawyer handed me the documents. After reading them, I laughed through my tears. The will is as follows: Graham Group's assets, including $20 billion in real estate and $5 billion in movable property, shall be entirely inherited by his son Tyler. Daughter-in-law Rubius entitled to receive $500 million. Upon seeing the following words, I was stunned. Chapter 2. Note: if I pass away due to sudden illness and my son is not by my side, his inheritance rights shall be revoked and transferred entirely to Ruby. Just a few words, I read them over and over again. "Tyler, Grandma truly loved you. She even gambled with her own life, betting that you would be the one by her side in her final moments. And you, why didn't you come back to save her?" The lawyer looked at my dazed expression, thinking I was stunned with joy at suddenly becoming a billionaire. After confirming and signing, I reminded everyone not to reveal that I am the heir, because there are still some matters left to handle. Once again stepping into the house, as expected, I saw Gracie and her husband in a loving and harmonious scene. I told Tyler that I had already filed for divorce, and whether he wanted it or not, it was definitely happening. Grace fed a green grape mouth to Tyler, then said sarcastically, "Tyler, don't blame Ruby. She's been obsessed with money since childhood. She's just lucky to have married a rich, handsome guy like you, unlike me." Sigh. "But now you're getting divorced." The two of them poured out their feelings to each other, while I watched coldly from the sidelines. "Grace, it's not your fault. The one I've always loved is you. If my mother hadn't forced me to marry her, you would have been my wife." I clapped my hands in mock applause. What a pair of lovebirds. Seizing the moment, I added scornfully, "Don't just talk the talk. Gracie is several years older than you. By the way, Grace, your real sister is still in jail. I was just mistakenly switched at birth and became your family's daughter. Of all people to like. Why him? Some guys talk about marrying you every day, but has he actually done it?" After I finished speaking, Grace turned red with anger. Tyler's face darkened. "So they can get angry too." Grace looked at Tyler with grievance. Tyler glared at me furiously. Not to be outdone, I provocatively asked, "Tyler, don't you dare marry Grace. Tyler, you're not falling for me, are you?" with every question I asked. Grace grew paler. Before I could speak, Grace cut in, "Who's scared? Tyler loves me the most. We'll go get our marriage certificate today." Tyler was stunned and blurted out, "But you said you weren't ready to get married yet." Grace pretended to be a pitiful little white lotus, saying she couldn't let the deeply devoted Tyler wait for her any longer. Tyler was deeply moved and hugged Grace tightly, then frowned again. "But what about my mom?" I interrupted them and said I would handle the matter with his mother-in-law, so the three of us went to the civil affairs office together. Soon, I came out holding the green booklet, followed by the newlywed couple Tyler and Grace. I walked up to the beaming couple and opened the last page of the mother-in-law's death certificate. "Tyler, today's the 6th. What a coincidence. Grandma also died on the 6th. Your marriage registration date is your mother's death anniversary. Tyler, you poor thing. Why are you bringing this up for the 3rd time?" Tyler shouted angrily. Instead, it startled Gracie and even made her twist her ankle. However, a child by the roadside heard it and mustered the courage to reply, "This big brother is so silly. Our kindergarten teacher taught us that important things should be said 3 times. And I remembered it right away." Soon, Tyler seemed to vaguely understand something. "Important things? Yes, everyone told me, but I didn't believe it and didn't check." Tyler ignored his newlywed wife and chased after me, but my car was already far away. He started calling my phone incessantly. I chuckled lightly and simply turned off my phone. After a long time, I arrived in front of a tombstone, placing the flowers and food the woman had loved most in life. As I wiped the dust off the tombstone, I chatted with her. "Mom, Tyler and I get divorced. You'd still bless me, right? Tyler finally realized you're really gone. He's starting to regret it, but you can never come back to life. Don't worry, he won't die, but I won't let him off easy. Mom, I'll visit you often. And please don't blame me." I walked down the mountain path and arrived at a small farmhouse, a gift from my mother-in-law when I got married, which even Tyler did know about. Since my mother-in-law had expressed her wish for a simple funeral before her passing, I buried her in a modest ceremony. Today, Tyler and I got divorced, and I also obtained the inheritance rights to the Graham family's property. The person who once cared for me is dead, and the one I loved has become the one I hate. My adoptive parents repeatedly said, "We've raised you for so long. What's the harm in letting your sister have her way?" Yes, I gave in to everything, but in doing so, I lost the only person who truly cared for me, my grandmother. I had a wonderful dream. Tyler and Grace were nearly going crazy looking for me. When I turned on my phone and saw 99+ missed calls, I didn't even need to guess. It had to be Tyler calling. I first replied to messages from some close friends and relatives before calling Tyler back. "Ruby, where are you? Get home right now, you crazy woman. You killed my mother and even secretly buried her. Gracious, right? You didn't just scheme for money. You took a life too. My mom has been so good to you. How can you be so vicious?" Tyler kept talking, and I shouted at him, "Tyler, you're so stupid. I thought you had some brains since you became the deputy dean, but it turns out your head is full of shit. What do you mean, when your mother-in-law passed away? How many calls did I make to you? Not only did you not answer, but you also turned off your phone." Later, Grace answered the phone, and I begged her to let you go to the hospital for Mom. "But you said it was Grace's birthday and you had to make her longevity noodles, refusing to go save her, while your friends and relatives were desperately trying to reach you for help. You were busy having dinner with your lover." There was a long silence on the other end of the line until I was about to hang up. "It's impossible. Grace wouldn't lie to me," he kept repeating frantically. I hung up the phone directly and contacted the gossip entertainment reporter. At this moment, the top trending topic on social news was Grace buying, with the headline, "Graham-style conglomerate heir wins the heart of his longtime beloved beauty." Paid commenters uniformly replied, "The handsome guy and beautiful girl are such a perfect match. May they be happy forever." Any comments revealing that Tyler originally had a wife were quickly deleted. Soon, an explosive recording appeared out of nowhere, instantly setting the entire internet ablaze. #TylerMsp. Lover, #Graham old madam passed away. Tyler dating lover led to mother's death. I watched as public opinion began to escalate. Grace panicked. Before she could even find someone to remove the trending topic, Tyler slapped her across the face. Bitch, how did my mother die? I don't know. Grace was truly panicked. Trying to escape but was caught by him. Ruby said my mother was in trouble and needed my blood to save her. Why didn't you tell me? Grace struggled to stand up, forcing composure. Honey, didn't you say you'd stored a certain amount of rare blood type for your mother? You know how Ruby would make up any lie just to get you back home. Woo-woo, I'm so wronged, and you're still blaming me. I've been with you for years without any status, and I was also heartbroken when your mother passed away. Grace knew Tyler would fall for this act. Sure enough, he was convinced it was all my doing. He coaxed his newlywed wife, promising to hold a grand wedding for her. Grace finally smiled. Before Grace could mention the trending topics online, Tyler's phone rang. After hanging up the call, his face turned pale and then flushed with anger, before he smashed his phone to the ground, shattering it into pieces. Honey, what happened? Grace asked with concern. Grace picked up the phone from the ground, where every photo was shockingly explicit. Without exception, the woman in every photo was her. Honey, it's really not me. I didn't do it. Grace trembled. Accidentally cutting her hand on a shard of glass, blood flowed, yet she seemed numb to the pain. Grace had a bad feeling that things were about to get worse. Tyler walked out, his tone icy. You'd better pray this wasn't you. Or else. Grace nodded frantically. It really wasn't her. Tyler, this was done by Ruby. She's trying to drive a wedge between us as a couple. Tyler paused for a moment, then walked away. He trusted Grace. But would his once obedient and well-behaved ex-wife really do something so vicious? Could it really be as Grace said, that Ruby intentionally destroyed his marriage just to become Graham's wife? Ruby, oh Ruby, you set a trap to kill my mother and still dare to covet me. Are you even worthy? Tyler was deep in thought. While I was scrolling through the latest trending topics, Graham's wife's lover climbs the social ladder. Grace, oh Grace, you never imagined you had a long-lost twin sister, did you? She's been a tremendous help to me. It's all because you share the same face. Do you think Tyler could stand the whole world mocking him for wearing a cuckold's hat, no matter how much he loves you? Besides, both your parents are dead. Who can prove that the person in the photo isn't you? On the other end of the line, Grace cursed at me like a madwoman, but instead of getting angry, I laughed. Aren't you curious why, despite being in good health, you've never been able to conceive? Grace tightened her grip on the phone, the answer almost spilling out. Don't thank me, it was Tyler who did it. I hung up the phone in an excellent mood. Truth be told, I'd known all along that Grace couldn't bear children. My mother-in-law advised me to leave Tyler if I was unhappy, but I refused. Then she swore no other woman would ever carry the seed of the Graham family. Tyler mistakenly thought his mother had relented. As long as Grace remained childless, she'd eventually be allowed in. Little did they know, I was already aware of this matter. Grace, I thought it was fine for a man to fool around outside. After all, a husband can't be relied on. As long as the mother-in-law is there, how could I let down her kindness when my mother-in-law cares so much for me? Grace. Every bite of food you ate was laced with poison by your mother-in-law, and in the end, it was Tyler who personally fed it to you. I ignored how devastated she was at the moment and began contacting lawyers to prepare the relevant inheritance documents. Soon, Tyler would be kicked out. Gracie and Tyler got into a violent fight at home, even alerting the police. It turned out Grace lashed out at Tyler, demanding to know why he had made her infertile. Tyler was already upset that a woman who looked exactly like Grace could be so fickle and promiscuous. Being accused so unfairly, especially when Tyler had only her best interests at heart, he retorted sarcastically, "Shouldn't you explain these men to me?" Grace fired back without hesitation, "Tyler, you only dare to covet me because you like me, don't you?" Tyler was truly furious. "Fine. Very well, just wait till I deal with you." Soon, their argument escalated into a physical fight right on the couch. The scene was intense until the police and reporters burst through the door. By the time I heard this explosive news, I had already arrived at Tyler's hospital with my team. I had my lawyer publicly announce that I was taking over the hospital, removing Tyler from his position as deputy director. Several days later, Tyler hurried to the hospital for work, only to be stopped by the security guard. He knew I had removed him from his position and threatened to settle the score with me. I summoned him to the conference room, where journalists and shareholders were all present. The lawyer directly presented the will written by Graham before her death. Everyone exchanged glances, then pitifully looked at Tyler. "Why are you all looking at me? I am the sole heir of the Graham family." He looked at the will, his face instantly turning pale, repeating incessantly, "This can't be true." I picked up the microphone and enunciated word by word, "From today onward, I will take over the Graham Group, and Tyler will leave with nothing." Someone disagreed and wanted to object. But I retorted, "Does a man who was still fooling around outside while his own mother was dying deserve anything?" Tyler returned home in a daze. Grace already knew about the matter. She anxiously asked if it was true. Tyler nodded. Now he had nothing left, but at least the woman he loved most was still there. Before he could speak, Grace pushed him away. "Tyler, you have no money now. How are we supposed to live?" Tyler said nonchalantly. "The several properties and designer bags I've given you before are more than enough to keep us comfortable for decades." Grace immediately bristled at these words. "Tyler, if you think you can spend my money, forget about it." Tyler also lost his temper. Grace had been living off him, eating his food, spending his money, using his resources. How dare she still act so self-righteous? "No, what I mean is, I don't have any money either," Grace said, softening her tone. "I gambled everything away and lost it all. I still owe $30 million that I haven't paid back." Her voice grew quieter as she spoke. Tyler felt his blood boil as a large crowd forced the door open and demanded he repay the money. "Young Master Graham, your new wife still owes money. The news has already reported it. You're no longer the young master of the Graham Group. How do you plan to repay this debt?" I don't have any money." "That's easily solved. This house of yours looks quite decent. Perfect to cover the debt. Someone, get him to sign the papers, then throw these two out." So the two were driven out. The pampered Tyler showed up at my newly bought suburban house that night with a can of gasoline and started setting it on fire, watching the flames grow higher. He laughed like a madman. "Ruby, you bitch, go die quickly." The woman inside the house began to scream, wailing for help. I stood not far away making a phone call. And soon fire trucks and police cars arrived. Tyler watched as the firefighters carried out a woman's body burned beyond recognition, and he smiled. Tyler thought I was dead. Anyway, his mother was already dead, so if he died, so be it. I suddenly stood behind him. "Tyler, how could you not see who the dead woman was?" He stumbled backward in fright, asking why I wasn't dead yet. I leaned close to his ear and whispered, "I lied to Grace that the will was fake, and she actually came looking for me. I watched from the roadside as you set the fire, watched Grace burn to death by your hands. Do you know, her eyes were still wide open when they carried her out just now. Tyler, you couldn't save your mother, and you ended up burning your wife to death." Tyler was taken away, and I saw him one last time before his execution. He gave me a deep look, his eyes empty, and only said one thing to me, "You're not Ruby." I clapped for him, never expecting Tyler to have a moment of clarity before his death. "I am Ruby, yet not Ruby. I am Ruby's twin brother, Delana Dongdong. I searched for Ruby for many years, finally found her and reunited. She told me she married the little brother who once helped her. At that time, she was very happy, and I felt extremely joyful too, but later, she became depressed and unhappy. She said her mother-in-law treated her very well and didn't want the elderly to see her gloomy face. I promised to help her stay by the old lady's side, so no one would notice Ruby had been replaced by someone else. I began adapting to Ruby's identity and discovered Graham, the old lady, was truly a wonderful person. Perhaps it's because I've always lacked love since childhood. I couldn't tell whether my feelings for old Mrs. Graham were filial affection or romantic love. I fled in panic, and when I returned to the Graham household, it was because Ruby told me old Mrs. Graham had passed away. I kept calling Tyler's phone, but no one ever answered. The hospital originally had reserves of rare Rh-negative blood, but it had long expired. Later, Graham the old lady died, Ruby hanged herself secretly at home after a miscarriage, and everyone saw Ruby was actually me, Delana Dong Dong. They all refused to save you, then I'll make sure they all die. So you won't be alone anymore. I kissed Graham the old lady's tombstone and wept bitterly. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great stories. We'll see you in the next video.